Okay, so today we're talking about mounting your passenger pillion. And there's a couple things that you need to address first before you even get to the pillion. And the first thing is to make sure your solo seat is fully mounted correctly. If you're looking at your seat and this acorn nut is touching the back end of the seat, then the seat needs to go forward more. So in a forward motion, I would hold the back of the seat with one hand and hit it with the other. Usually your predominant hand, it's a little bit easier, I find. So you're gonna go forward motion, really tapping this thing up the tank. Then, with a 7/16 wrench, you wanna make sure that the seat stays in position, hold it there, and then tighten it up. This is something that you might have to check on regularly, depending on how tight you tighten it, how much riding you do. You know, things can become loose on a bike. It's something to check out. But once it's tightened down and it's really good, it's not gonna slide on you. So that's important. Now that nut isn't touching the back end of the seat, there won't be any damage, and it's all the way up on the tank. So the next thing that I wanna talk about is the pillion. And the important thing I want to address first is if you're using a hand screw, something that you turn with your hand, it's not really recommended for a lot of reasons. We recommend any type of screw that you can actually use a tool to get a little bit of torque when you turn it, and you can really tighten something a lot better with any tool than you can with just your bare fingers. So if you are using a hand screw on the rear end of your seat, it's a little bit more bulky. It can kind of go into the pillion if it's too tall. You know, using a screw of any kind, it's going to sit nice and flat in there, and so we recommend that. So going with the pillion in the same way that we did the solo seat here, you want to hit it in a forward motion, making sure that the leather tab is going underneath the T-bracket. So that's going to go between your fender and the bracket itself. Tap it forward motion. Grab your tool, whatever you're using to screw it down, and have it handy. Because what you're going to do is you're just going to get that thing tapped forward and hold the back end of the pillion. Just like you did the solo seat. This way you can kind of fold up the foam depending on how big your pillion is. It might be a little bit more extreme than next. Get your screw kind of started a little bit if you can, and then just kind of go at it. It's important that when you are screwing these things into that rear threaded insert, that you're going straight down into your fender and you're not re-threading the insert, because that can be a problem later for you. So once that's good and tight, you should be all set. And this really installation for a pillion should be on and off in less than a minute. You'll get better at it in time, but that looks great. That's exactly how you want it.